to Cranmer Hall in Durham to train, and while I was there it became possible to be selected to be a deaconess. So I went back for another selection.
My first parish was as a deaconess. I was ordained in September 84 and worked in Hartcliffe in Bristol.
I was ordained deacon in 89.
But after 7 years as a deaconess, there was the opportunity to be ordained deacon. Being ordained deacon meant that we then became clerks in holy orders, and the main practical difference was that we were able to take weddings.
And so I was there for almost, 5.5 years, and moved in 1990 to be the first deacon in charge in the Diocese of Ely in the parish of Orton Goldhay.
But since the Church of England is a Eucharistic community, it always felt that as if my one hand was tied behind my back.
The women who were deacons had been meeting with Joan Miller, who was the director of women's ministry, for some time, and we'd all produced a document about what we would do if the vote went to no.
Well, the women deacons of this diocese met and we supported each other, and for me 5 years were long, but for some of them it was a long, long journey.
A number was talking of leaving the country and going to somewhere like the States where they could be ordained. That wasn't so much an option for me because I already had a parish that I kind of felt responsible for.
The support was very important, but we also felt that we couldn't wind the clock back had the measure not been passed.
We gathered to listen to the vote and to sort of be together for this moment. And I remember as the voting numbers came through, I was sort of doing this mental calculation to work out if it was the 2/3 in each house needed. And when we got the third one and it was the 2/3, it was just kind of pandemonium and tears. I can cry now because I can remember it. The tears sort of everywhere because it was such a joyous moment.
When it became clear that the vote had gone through, it was extraordinary. Wonderful.
There was this fear of would there be protests, because there had been at some. On the weekend we were ordained, there were a number of ordinations across the country. So there was a sort of anxiety about whether there would be coordinated protests, but in fact there was nothing like that.
When we made our vows, there was this feeling that it was all female, and I thought we haven't heard it before and we'll never hear it again, and that was special.
I was priested at Ely Cathedral along, I think there were 25 of us, on what was it, May the 28th, 1994, and that was a wonderful occasion.
For me, it was the great untying, the freeing, that I now, all the stuff that had led up to it, all the experience I'd had in my life, were being ordained and blessed to be used.
There were so many people, and I have this vivid memory of standing by the door of the Lady Chapel. The procession had all gone outside to come in through the west door, and I just remember standing next to Bishop Stephen Sykes and him saying, "They've turned the corner." And it was remarkable because there were just so many people in the procession, And there was just an overwhelming sense of being part of something that was really wonderful.
And the untying of the deacon's stole was also a very strong symbol of this freeing and untying and blessing.
But it was a very special moment to be with that group of people that we had journeyed with for sort of almost 4 years.
It just felt so much love and so much support, and people who'd been there for us for so long. It was a very special occasion.
This diocese actually deployed women fairly quickly into proper jobs, which was good. So I became incumbent of 3 parishes.
The next morning, it was Trinity Sunday, and I presided for the first time here at St Barnabas, and that was a very, very moving.
I had a feeling of a sort of imposter syndrome at times that when they said, called for the vicar, I looked round for somebody else to do that. So that was, I had to grow into that role.
Yes, I had actually. I thought it would be I thought it would be totally overwhelming. And I can remember asking lots of friends to pray that I wouldn't cry. And actually I didn't cry, but lots of people in the congregation did.
We all had to learn to get in what it means to have a woman priest. I still remember one day the church warden said, "We're having a coffee morning, will you bake a cake?" And I said, "I'm busy." Well, she said that the last vicar's wife baked cakes. And I said, "I'm not the vicar's wife, I'm the vicar." And we laughed, but it is that sort of learning of the nitty-gritty details.
In practical terms, for many people in the parish, it made no difference. I'd been their vicar, I was still their vicar.
My style was different from what they knew. It was about giving the laity real responsibility. And I said, have a go. And if it turns out to be a mess, we'll sort it out.
But there was also a sense of holding that position, being able, the moment of being able to bring people together at the Eucharist was very special. So that, and being able to bring the prayers of the people at that point was a very special moment, and that made the whole thing make sense.
I think the good thing is that now occasional church goers don't bat an eyelid when they see a woman. I am much richer for having been a parish priest and for the experience and the blessing it's given me.
It's a wonderful, wonderful calling. You see lives changed, people transformed, God at work, the faithfulness of God.
It's a great adventure. It's not always, perfect, and there are lots of difficult parts of that adventure, but actually go for it. If that's what you feel called to do, go for it. Don't be afraid. God's there.